Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Nick Morganson. This is another edition of Moving the Goalposts Leftovers. In a this just happens to be the case, not purposeful, but post U.S. Open Women's Finals match. Um, so Sabalenka just won her second U.S. Open, uh, fourth Grand Slam. It was crazy. It was a crazy second set actually between the two of them. I missed the first set, but it was a pretty crazy second set. Anna Samova got off to. I mean, Sabalenka was up a break for most of that set, and then she broke back, and then of course Sabalenka ends up breaking back, and it really looks like Sabalenka is going to take it. But then Anna Samova somehow ties it up at 5, and then like it ended up going to a tiebreak. I mean, look, the fact that she won in straight sets was not surprising. The fact that Anna Samova was able to take it to a tiebreak in the second set, that really did surprise me.
I mean, Sabalenka is the number one overall seed on the women's side, so it's not surprising she won. I think the only one that was really going to beat her, and it would have been more surprising, but it would have been a good story, was Naomi Osaka if she made it to the final. By the way, I have to say, now that that side of the tournament is over, the U.S. Open screwed up the scheduling big time by making the Osaka Goff match at 1:30 in the afternoon when that should
Yeah.
have been a primetime match at night. But that just goes to show you that the U.S. Open schedulers don't think ahead.
Or how about the fact that they were playing Osaka and Anna Samova both played consecutive nights? That usually doesn't happen.
So towards the end of the tournament, they don't have a choice because they got to stay within the 2 week period that they have. So they got to get matches done. Usually it's the opposite. Usually they give them the extra day when they get to the end. But at the beginning of the tournament, they actually gave a few extra days off because they were noticing that players were turning around too fast at the beginning of the tournament and they
Yeah.
just were not getting good tennis. And there was a lot of upsets on the women's side.
I mean, the truth is there's always a lot of upsets. I mean, the thing with if I were to compare, if I were to put men's and women's tennis in football terms, I think that like women's tennis is like the AFC and men's tennis is like the NFC. I think women's tennis is more top heavy. Always. It's always been more top heavy. And men's tennis is probably deeper.
I would say that women's is more US deep than the men's side.
That's true.
The men's is way more internationally based, even though we saw Novak lose again to probably the best player on the men's side right now, and Carlos Alcaraz. And we're going to get another Alcaraz Sinner final again. That
Yes.
this is becoming the new Roger Rafa battle. Way back in the day, even though I think no one could beat the Roger Rafa rivalry by any
I
means.
would say you can argue Djokovic, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer.
I
You
still
can
think the
argue.
Roger Rafa one, like, because they had marathon matches
Yeah,
at
that's
times.
true.
Do you remember? This is a little bit of a side tangent, but do you remember when Roger and Rafa did the double surface match where they put grass on one side and clay on the other?
Oh, I think that sounds really familiar.
They did that on purpose to
Like
really show
it
off the
was an exhibition.
versatilities. Yeah, they did it
Yeah,
to
it was
show
an
off the
exhibition.
versatilities
Yeah, I think I do remember that actually.
because their two best tournaments, Rogers was Wimbledon and Rafa's was obviously the French Open because he won
Yeah.
13 of them.
Yeah.
So that will always be the best rivalry in my book. I think at one point in the future, this will be an insane rivalry. Carlos Alcaraz is on like a pace to break records way sooner than Novak, who I think holds or is tied with 24 majors right now. But I think Alcaraz is going to blow that by.
Yeah. Um, yeah, probably. I mean, but you think he'll catch up to like Djokovic?
Well, I think he's tied for the all-time lead. I don't know who has the.
No, Djokovic does have the all-time lead.
Oh, does he?
He has 24. Nadal has 22. Federer has 20.
Which surprised me because I thought Roger would have had more.
No,
Actually,
no, it feels like it, but no, he doesn't. Djokovic has more.
oh, okay, I see the list here. Yeah, Novak, Rafa, Rogers, Sampras. Wow, that goes to show you that Sampras, who was one of the best of all time, only had 14. But that was a different era of tennis, way back when you can play tennis longer in this era because they take care of their bodies much better, so they're playing till they're much
Yeah,
older.
you can play a bit longer, but they're not good for as long. Like you're not like when you take the extra amount of time that they play, most of them are not winning champ or not winning grand slams in that extra amount of time. I mean, even if you look at Djokovic, he's still one of the best players in tennis, but he's not winning slams.
Well,
At least not many.
he admitted it in the press conference afterwards that he can continue to play, but he doesn't think he can really put in the manpower and the hours that it takes to physically that it puts its toll on his body. So he'll make it. Like he'll win a few rounds and continue to play, but I don't think he just has the energy or the strength to really play and win. The injuries were catch him in the first round. He was huffing and puffing.
Well, yeah, because he's older now, and
Is he
tennis is
38?
pretty. Yeah, and playing professional tennis is fairly physically demanding. I mean, how many 38-year-old tennis players still have it? I mean, when Federer was 38, what year was that? 2018. He was still playing, but he didn't have it.
He had way more injuries than Novak did, though. I
Well,
think.
neither of them were injury prone throughout their careers. They got injured more often as they got older. They weren't like Nadal. Nadal was always very injury prone, even when
Well,
he was young.
the thing with Rafa is because of all the sliding and the constant running, because that
Yeah,
was his game. I think, what was it? The bottom of his foot, like essentially just gave out. I think that was one of the injuries
there
he
were
had.
he had all sorts of injuries throughout his career, but a lot,
But
yeah, his
but what
foot,
ended
his
his career
wrist,
was the feet. Like he just couldn't
yeah,
do it anymore.
yeah. So with like Nadal aged a lot quicker. Like it's almost like if you were to compare like Kobe to LeBron in a sense.
Different eras,
Not
yeah.
no, not different eras, but like Kobe's career gave out like way sooner if you compare him to say LeBron.
Well, again, LeBron, it comes from the era of taking care of the body a lot more than what they did back then. Now,
Well, Kobe and LeBron's era weren't all that much different. We're comparing Nadal to say Djokovic and Federer. They're all from the same era. It's just that they played different styles. Uh, and some like a lot of times athletes from the same era, some of them take better care of their bodies than others. I mean, compare just look at Tom Brady compared to say everybody else of his generation.
yes, but I would say also like Tom Brady started the trend of spending like $1 million every year to keep his body in shape. I think LeBron does that too to keep the body in shape, and that's why he's able to play or go into ironically his 23rd season of his career. But back then, there was no such thing as these heavy regiment workouts that you get today, or keeping the body in shape much more.
Right, but what I'm saying is that even the guys that are also playing in their eras are not doing what it takes to do what LeBron and Tom Brady did with their bodies. That's the point I'm making. Like they're one of the few who actually does it, and they're also probably genetically gifted. I think genetics probably do have a lot to do with,
Well,
how long you can last in a sport. Like that.
Well, LeBron is a specimen. That's just number one. I think he just did a really good job of taking care of his body. And that's why, because how often do you hear someone say they're going into the 23rd season in the NBA? You just don't hear
Yeah.
it.
And a sport like basketball where it's just like it's so physically demanding, it's very explosive, and naturally it's going to be a little bit like it's even more unbelievable. Like Brady was playing in his 40s, but Brady was a quarterback. Like being a quarterback is not as physically demanding in a sense as being like a basketball player like LeBron. Like it's
Yeah,
not like jumping and dunking and running up and down a court. It just isn't the same.
but I think Brady was a unicorn in a sense, though, the
Yeah.
way that he was just able to play into what was he, 43 or 44 or something? Like, that's just unheard of when it comes to professional sports. I mean,
Yeah.
so I think those are just, that's
Well,
rarefied air.
I think that Djokovic is like he's like the LeBron of tennis, as I said. I think
I,
he's
I don't see him lasting much longer, to be honest, because I think the injuries are going to catch up to him at some point. And he jokingly said he's going to be around until his son comes and plays. And I was just like,
no way.
dude, you're going to be 50 by the time that happens. I'm like, you're not. Oh God, what was the name of the Braves first baseman that was 47 or 40? Oh, Franco.
Julio Franco. When he
Yeah,
was on the Mets, I remember. Oh, by the way, can you guess who's favored in the Sinner Alcaraz match?
it should be Alcaraz, but is it Sinner?
Yeah. he's minus 135.
That's
Not by
crazy.
much.
That's
Not by much.
crazy.
Alcaraz is plus 110, so he's not favored by it. It's very close.
How is Alcaraz not the favorite? He's not lost a set.
That doesn't matter.
I think it does.
It's really just mere probability. That's really all it is.
I think Alcaraz is the better player.
Yeah, maybe he might be. I mean, Alcaraz has one more slam than Sinner does. But you know what though? I think Sinner's a better hard court player. He's got to be the best hard court player right now.
Well, yeah, because Alcaraz is in the Rafa camp, like being more a clay Australian Open type player. And
Australian Open is hard, but
no, but I'm saying that's more rubber surface type.
Yeah, it's slightly different. I mean, Alcaraz is more of an all court player, whereas Sinner is mostly
Hard
home
court.
court and maybe a little bit grass.
He was great. He was great at Wimbledon past couple of years.
Yeah, well, he won his first.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got to get into some of this sports media stuff.
Okay.
So there's quite a lot of it. So I don't know which one you want to start with. The Volume made a deal with Hard Rock Bet. They dropped Draftkings. I don't know how significant this really is in terms of. I guess I'm surprised that they would choose Hard Rock Bet over DraftKings. I'm surprised Hard Rock Bet offered them more money because I haven't even really heard of Hard Rock Bet. That sounds like some boomer thing.
It's basically what I'm saying. It's money. It's nothing else. There's no significant operational change. You have to remember also, this is a podcast network sponsorship deal. It's not an individual influencer taking money. So DraftKings probably was just not offering as much money, and Hard Rock came to the table and said, "We'll offer more money." And I read in the release that they're going to do more live events with some of the volume shows. So it's pretty much a money thing. It's really nothing else. It's not operational. It's not new studios. It's not everything because everything for the most part is done remotely anyway for a lot of these big names like the Richard Shermans of the world and the Draymond Greens of the world and Sophie Cunningham, which they just got that new podcast for the Volume, which Barstool goofed and didn't take. They were offered it first.
Where does Colin Cowherd find some of these podcasts? I know some of them are professional athletes and are well known, but it seems like if you go on the Volume's website, it seems
they're
like
relationships from over the years that like people he had on his ESPN radio show, on Fox Sports Radio. It's a lot of relationships over the years that he's had that have led to a lot of these podcasts built. And some of these are huge names that he's managed. And I'm trying to find.
No, but some of them, you're right. Some of them are, but some of them are not. Some of them seem to be just like plucked out of nowhere. A lot of them are big names, but some of them just like seem to be plucked out of nowhere.
He also kind of took an expansion into non-sports. If you saw that, also,
yeah.
So Joe and Jada, that's actually Fat Joe. Actually, Rory and Mal used to be a Spotify show. They brought that over. Club 520, I think that was a pop culture show too. And then one of the newest shows that they did a press release, and we're going to talk about this on Press Row, is Sharp or Square. That's Chad Millman, who used to work at ESPN as the head editor of the website, and then he went over to Action Network and Better Collective and all that stuff, the Darren Ravel stuff, and over there. He left. He just recently left a couple days ago from Action Network and is now expanding his role at the Volume and doing this show Sharp or Square now at the Volume.
Yeah, because like some of most of the names are like big names, but like some of them just seem to be plucked out of nowhere.
Also, Angie Martinez, you might recognize that name.
She was on the radio, wasn't she?
She was. I think she's still on. I forgot which station here in New York, but she is. I think it's on 105.1 or whatever that station is. Power 105.
Yeah. I think that sounds about right.
So, and then Show Me Something, which is kind of a crossover That's Sophie Cunningham's podcast with
Yeah.
I forgot the other guy's name. He's from Bravo, but they were high school friends apparently, the two of them. So I guess that's why it worked out. Barstool did have the first dibs at that show, but they apparently Dave talked about it, said it was too much money apparently, which
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, we could talk about the other one since we're talking about Barstool, which
Brian
is
Russillo.
because I can't even imagine how much money they paid for him, because I don't know what Spotify was paying him, but something happened between him and Simmons. I don't know what happened, but
Did anything happen, or did his contract just run out?
well, it didn't help that the two of them were not getting along at one point.
What I haven't heard that. Are you suspecting that, or
No. There was some public. He was talking about it on his podcast, like basically making it public about his free agency, that his contract was up, and basically Simmons was not doing anything to help him or whatever. So,
because they did a lot of podcasts together, they seemed to get along.
well, they used to do his show. I forgot the name of whatever. I forgot the basketball hour or whatever they would call it. But this deal is unique because he's making a production company, but Portnoy and Barstool are investing in this production company, which is in turn going to have, because Spotify was a dick and didn't give him his podcast feed.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to bring this point up anyway, but that was like when you came over here and Review and Preview didn't give you your show.
Yeah.
Your show name.
And the thing is, I would have used that name had that not happened. I would have used that name, but I was just like, you know what? It's a pick your battles type of thing.
I happen to like this name better, by the way.
But at the time, I totally would have used that name. And
I would have had no issue.
Everything. Like I would have, and you know, now that all those social media pages for that show just sit out there in cyberspace completely unused, so that name is just done.
But basically, the Russillo thing,
junkyard of podcasts.
Yes. So his show is going to air on Barstool feeds and all that stuff, but it's technically like controlled by him, and like the McAfee situation with ESPN, or I don't know, pick your choice. Whoever has power over their podcast, they control the whole situation. So basically, he's working for Barstool, but it's under his own power.
Well, yeah, but like that's kind of what most Barstool podcasts are. They kind of are in some ways.
But I'm saying the podcasting landscape has changed, because it used to be like you had to go to a network, and like even though you had power, like the network controlled you. Now it's like the person who hosts the podcast has way more power than they once did.
Well, yeah, because I think the difference is that when these podcast networks look at, like, they see the podcaster that you are, they see how the podcast is and want to bring it in based on what it looks like. They're not trying to change it.
Correct. Like, also, I would say What's Right with Nick Wright, which is now on the Volume. The two of them have been friends for ever. Like, he was doing it. I forgot he was doing it separately, and then Colin said, "I'll bring it in," and that was a no-brainer. Daniel Cormier, he was doing it. I think he was doing like Draftkings and all that stuff. That show is now under the Volume banner. The Draymond Green show with Baron Davis, which it used to be just the Draymond Green show. Somehow he added Baron Davis. Okay. And then you were asking about some of the other guys. 3 and Out with John Middlecoff.
Who's John Middlecoff? Like, where did he get him from?
I remember he was, and let me see if I can find it really quick. So I think he's a football guy. Yes,
he is a football guy, but like I don't know where they got him.
He's a former NFL scout. So, and I've listened to him before. He actually gives some really good insight. But that's
how about Jason Timpf on Hoops Tonight?
He's great too. I've heard that.
Where did they get him from? I never heard of him before he was on the Volume.
I don't know that whole story, but I know of him. Hoops Tonight. He knows a lot of very knowledgeable people, like on the inside.
Yeah.
So that helps him find all these people that really help grow a network.
True.
So the Volume is great. Like I told you, the valuation on the Volume is like $100 million last time they did it. So to be honest, if he really wanted to walk away from Fox Sports Radio and FS1, he could.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to.
He's got it so good, like he's got it so well, like that he doesn't really care one way or
You
the
think
other.
he probably gets a rush from doing
Yeah.
live TV/radio
Oh yeah, big time.
compared to podcasting?
Yes, big time. Well, he likes doing the podcast like when news breaks and all that stuff because it goes up to YouTube, and
Yeah.
he's got his own. This is what's confusing. He's got the Colin Cowherd podcast, which is technically separate from the Herd show.
Well,
And
yeah,
all that.
it's on the volume, and usually he brings a guest on. He doesn't talk by himself for that long. He talks by himself for maybe 15 minutes and then brings on a guest. That's usually what happens.
I seriously thought though Rosillo would have been perfect for the volume. That's where
He would have been. He still is perfect for the volume, but he has a good relationship with the Barstool guys.
But I think that would because Colin and Ryan, like they followed one another on the ESPN radio lineup for many years.
Yeah.
When he did SVP and Rosillo right after the Herd. I mean, I thought that would have been. I thought when they did that interview, if you remember when Ryan actually went to Colin's place and they sat on the couch, they did the long interview. And he was talking about the contract. I thought that was kind of like code. Like I thought they were gonna like try to make a deal and get him there, but I guess it just didn't work out
I
that
would
way.
have rather, in some ways, I would have rather seen that because I love seeing the Cowherd Rosillo podcast. And
It's great.
And I like those podcasts more than I like the Bill Simmons Rosillo podcasts.
I don't like Simmons. Like I think Simmons is a little bit obnoxious, and
I find Ryan Rosillo and Colin Cowherd to having conversations with each other. I find both of them to be interesting.
every time the two of them are together, it's like appointment podcast for me. Like so, I think you're right about that one.
And so some more sports media news. Katie Nolan has a new Sirius XM show.
Yes.
Where's she been?
So she signed a deal with Sirius to do a podcast already, and she's going to continue to do that. But now with the whole fluctuation of the Mad Dog lineup, and stupidly, and this is not how to program a radio channel. So they have DA with Babcheck, that's 6 to 9. Then they have Adam Shine from 9 to noon. And then Stephen A could not do until 1 because First Take ends at noon. So he's doing 1 to 3. It left a middle of the road hour from noon to 1. And they already had Katie Nolan doing a podcast called Casuals, which is a casual sports fan. It's like not doing the serious part of sports. She was doing that like twice a week. And then all of a sudden, because they announced the news in March, but Stephen A didn't come until about a week ago. So they had to keep filling the hour, and they kept using her like a lot to fill that hour. And I have to look up what the name of it. Okay, so it's called Fan Service with Katie Nolan, which I think is
It's going to be a call-in show.
Such a terrible name.
So there's going to be like, are there any commercials on this show, or is
yes? So Sirius has small amount of commercials. But
I know for a fact they do commercials on Sirius.
It's small because it's still a pay service, but I don't like the name of it. I think Fan Service is terrible, by the way. But
it sounds like an escort business.
Yes. What they should have done is they should have
sounds like a place Robert Kraft would go to.
Exactly. They should have expanded DA from 6 to 10 and made Shine 10 to 1, which would have led into Stephen A, but they obviously didn't want to do that. So
it seems like Sirius XM shows they're much shorter. Like
2 to 3 hours.
Radio guys are like Francesa was on for 5.5 hours.
Local radio is different than satellite. It's a little different, but what's weird is so Stephen A is on from 1 to 3 Eastern, and then they repeat the show from 6 to 8 every day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they're going to say, "Oh, they people are going to miss Stephen A." No, that's not why they're doing it. It's not why they're doing it. They want to save money by not having to hire another slot.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
They're going to lie to you and say that if you miss Stephen A, you can get it later on. Can we not lie, please? It's bad.
I mean, Katie Nolan. I mean, by the way, and Craig Carton's starting his new podcast too.
I saw it already.
Yeah, he's doing an hour-long podcast 5 days a week, I think it is.
So it's for Red Seat Ventures, which is actually a Fox company.
Yeah,
actually. And then I read in the report that Craig could still go back to WFAN, even though I don't think WFAN has said anything at all.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, though, he's probably getting paid a lot of money. Well,
Well, it might be his contract still, like because they took him off air at FS1, so maybe they still have to pay him. So maybe they just put
yeah.
him there.
So
But I
I
heard
don't know how much money he's getting paid. I'm sure it's a lot because he left WFAN to do it. So whatever,
he got millions.
he's somewhere in the millions. He's getting paid millions now to
Dumbest
do
mistake
an
FS1 made.
hour-long podcast 5 days a week. That's barely more than what I'm doing for free.
Yeah. FS1, Fox and FS1 effed up really bad,
Yeah.
giving him millions of dollars. He was never a national guy. He couldn't do it.
Well, look, they took a risk and it didn't work. I don't know how much. Look, I guess the TV show didn't work, but I think the podcast will work. Like, I think he will. I think it probably will. First of all, you can't compare podcasting to TV. TV is way more competitive than podcasting. I mean, people talk about the podcast market being oversaturated. I don't agree with that because I don't think you can compare podcasting to TV and radio. There's not really scarcity in podcasting in the same way.
It's almost too much.
But the thing is, there's no scarcity. Like with TV, you can only watch one show at a time. Radio, you can only have one radio station on at a time.
Well,
with podcasting, there's unlimited downloads. You know how many podcasts I have just downloaded on my phone? Like it's way different with podcasting.
depends what you're watching on TV. You could technically watch multiple channels at once, but
how? Not really. I mean, maybe you have multiple TVs.
you ever heard of picture in picture?
Oh yeah, you can do. Not many people do that though. Very few people. But the point is that it's very limited. But when it comes to podcast downloads, there really is no limit to it. That's why podcasting is so big, and can be such a moneymaker, and why so many like weird sort of niche podcasts can be successful because that could never happen in radio and TV.
I mean, you had the ESPN D2C makes it possible to watch 3 or 4 channels now, like
Yeah,
ESPN,
but
ESPN2,
the
ABC.
point
But
I'm making is that podcasting is far less of a scarce resource than say TV and radio.
I think
Because
that radio stations and even TV networks are kind of leaning on podcasts a little too much at times because, like every other day, you hear, "Oh, a new podcast just got released, a new show. Make sure you check it out." And if you notice, every radio host in America, like it's now, like if they're on a sports station, they have a show and they have a podcast that they do afterwards. Like that's how insane everything has gotten now. So you're right. Podcasts are scarce, but at the same time, there's also too many of them.
yeah, and people say there's too many, but like you know what? It's starting to remind me a little bit of the sports bubble. Like it's a bubble that people keep saying is going to pop that just never does.
That's true. I could agree with that. I mean, I don't even know. Like, it's funny. So it says there are approximately 4.61 million indexed podcasts worldwide as of 2025. I think that number's low.
What is that based on?
It's based on a survey or something or index that they use. Says some sources indicate that around 450,000 to 500,000 podcasts were actively produced as new content as of 2025. I think people use podcasts as like a go live feature, like on social media. It's just, that's what I feel like it is at times.
Yeah, pretty often. Pretty often. I don't know how much time you have.
Like another 2 minutes or so.
Okay, that's all I really have anyway. Did you see this Amy Bradley documentary on Netflix?
No, I did not.
It was about the girl that went missing on a cruise ship in 1998.
Yes. Okay, I did hear about it.
I never heard of this story until very recently. Apparently, it was a really big thing at the time, but I was a year old, I think, when this happened.
1998. I was 5.
So this Netflix documentary was one of the. It was a pretty crazy documentary. It was about like all it. It was about like, you know, what actually, because like nobody really ultimately knows what happened. Like, did she fall overboard? Was she trafficked? And there was some pretty compelling evidence. Like this documentary was pushing the narrative that she was trafficked and that she's potentially still alive. I don't think there's any way she's actually still alive. That narrative, like that story doesn't make sense to me. Um, but I think that this documentary, I recommend it. Like, I thought it was great. I mean, I think there were certain things about it that were kind of stupid. I thought like the third, I thought like
Over
they
accentuated some things.
yeah, and they were like they made things certain details out to be bigger deals than they really were.
That's every story, or like my favorite is like the Facebook movie where they way overdo the story. They say that Mark Zuckerberg stole this and stole
Yeah,
that, and which, if you really go back and look at the true stories, they they Hollywood some of that stuff to make a movie
yeah,
out of it. And who knows now? It could be a little different because Netflix documentaries are more meant to be based on fact than like that Facebook movie. I don't think everything was fact. Or like the Apple movie with Ashton Kutcher,
yeah,
where they show him walking around with no shoes or socks and walking around on a college campus. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know. I think they might accentuate some stuff.
yeah. I think that's pretty normal. All right, I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm going to do one more topic, and it's going to be the foul ball lady. I can do that. I
Okay.
can do that by myself. But can you just do me a favor? Do you have it? Can you just wait?
Which one?
Oh yeah, I have it. I can play it.
You got it?
Yeah, here it is.
Okay. I'll see you around. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that was this viral foul ball lady clip. And obviously it almost looks like a sketch. Like she fits the description so perfectly with like the short hair and everything. I obviously this guy got the foul ball fair and square. It didn't um he didn't take it from her. It was just in front of them and he ran over there and got it while it was on the ground and gave it to his son. This is not like the US Open CEO who just like took the hat that was obviously was meant to be given to the kid. I don't think it's anything like this, and I don't even know if this lady has been identified, but uh yeah, obviously, like that's just this whole thing is stupid. Like, if unless you have possession of the foul ball, you don't own the foul ball just because it lands in front of your feet. That's not how this works. You have to actually possess the foul ball in order for it to actually in order for you to actually possess it. Actually, one time I was at a Met game when I was a little kid, and a foul ball came into our section, and my dad actually caught the foul ball, or he had the foul ball. Another guy like tried taking it from him by like grabbing his wrist. He ended up keeping it, but like what? Like than that's way different than just like running over to somebody else's section and grabbing it while you still can. Like that's not the same thing at all. All right, that's leftovers for this week. I'm Nick DiMartino. I'll be back